Welcome back to our next SmartSuite showcase. If you're new here, I'm your host, Nate Montgomery, and in this series, we share the ways in which customers are using our platform. In today's episode, we are taking a look at how you can use SmartSuite, a SmartSuite solution, to onboard new hires. In addition, because SmartSuite is so flexible in its ability to handle a multitude of use cases effectively, your team may be using SmartSuite, or it should be, for other processes within your business. We're going to start in this staff onboarding solution. If you find it interesting, there is going to be a link in the description below to download the solution to your workspace so you can copy it. And then we will talk about how to invite the new hires into SmartSuite and give them access to everything they should have access to in a quick way using our team functionality. Let's dive right in. We're going to open up our staff onboarding solution. We're brought into our staff table. There's a couple other tables in this solution. We have our SOPs, so procedures, and our onboarding tasks. Our staff table is going to be that central source for our staff information. For new hires, they can be brought in as new records. That can be done through a new hire form like we see here, or can be created through a new record. The information about the staff is going to be compiled here, and when a new hire is ready, we can initiate this through the change of a status. Let's take a look at Paul Pellegrino here. He's set to not active. Maybe he's gone into the hiring process, has been hired, and now is changing to onboarding. Using our automations engine, a set of onboarding tasks will be created for Paul, who is now in the onboarding stage. We're now in our tasks table in our onboarding task view. Let's scroll down so we can see Paul Pellegrino's grouping of records that were created now that he's in this stage. We have records to represent each stage of the onboarding, and then a checklist to represent the individual subtasks that happen throughout that stage of onboarding. We also have a link to SOPs for review. So in our SOPs table, we can list out in a Smart Doc the SOPs for new hires or staff to know in general, and we're able to relate a stage of the onboarding to an SOP for their review, and they can reference and look at the SOP by clicking on the linked record. So far, we've centralized the data about the staff. We've created onboarding tasks for them, and this may be a good place for HR and the administrative team to manage the onboarding for Paul, but Paul doesn't have access yet. In some of the checklists we assign out, we may want Paul to be assigned to and to check off. So here's where we can give Paul access to complete that work, and in addition, get access to existing solutions that current teams are using that Paul may be a part of. Let's say in this example company that Paul is a part of the marketing team. When we click on the member directory, we can click on invite new members and type in Paul's email address, give him a workspace role. We'll give him general access because we want to give him access to solutions we determine access to. And then we're going to pick the marketing team as the assigned team for Paul. When we click send invitation, it'll send an invite out to Paul, and now we can start assigning Paul to the onboarding tasks. Why is this important? Because this assigning permission allows people to go into the staff onboarding solution and see the records assigned to them. One other key thing that we did when we invited Paul Pellegrino to SmartSuite inside of the marketing team is that if we go back to our homepage, all the other solutions that have been set up for the marketing team that have been given access to the marketing team, Paul now will have access to. So for example, our marketing campaign solution, when we look at the permissions, the marketing team has full access. So that means Paul will have access to each solution that the marketing team has access to. In this case, just the marketing campaigns, where he can start managing the campaigns and tasks associated with his work once he finishes out the onboarding process. To manage teams in SmartSuite, all we have to do is go to Workspace Administration, click on Manage Teams, where we can set up teams for each of the different departments of our business, and then go back into our solutions to determine which teams have access to them. So for example, marketing gets access to our marketing campaigns, whereas operations gets access to project management, HR is in charge of staff onboarding. Once this is set up for your solutions, it's as easy as inviting a team member to a team. The permissions get set out accordingly. There are some things that may be more sensitive pieces of data that permissions need to get more granular for. For example, if we look at salary, we can change the field permissions so nobody can view it or only specific people within the workspace. However, once teams permissions are set up, once you invite new members, assign them to a team, the permissions will roll out accordingly, making SmartSuite a good solution for onboarding new hires with the tasks they have to get done, as well as the access to the other solutions that your team may be using SmartSuite for. Once again, if you do want to use this solution at hand, there'll be a link in the description below, as well as a link to our last showcase where we talked about deploying solutions in SmartSuite, which may be a necessary prerequisite for giving access to your employees. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.